these lines now is that you guys get to cover a lot of territory in the individual districts, and we appreciate you all doing it.
Yeah, it's great to have you both here. I guess initial thoughts on primary night. Anticipate maybe 2 million Michigan voters turning out on primary day, which would be a good thing. We'd like everybody to turn out, certainly, but your initial thoughts on primary day and where Michigan's place in this election process is. Pretty prominent place.
We are very prominent. I'll tell you one thing, whatever your partisanship is, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, Michigan has had a front row seat here, certainly for the last week.
No question about that.
I mean, every candidate has been here, and even we're talking about Macomb County and your area and that, they've all been in there, whether they've been having rallies or whatever, town halls, they've all been around. So if you were an undecided voter on either side of the aisle, you really got a first-hand view of what these candidates have been saying. So that's good, and I think the electorate is very, very engaged, and that's sort of tracking what's happening nationally. The country is engaged in this process, and when voters have an opportunity to make their voice heard at the ballot box, they are doing so. And as the Secretary Johnson was just saying, you're getting, I don't know if it's record turnout for a primary, but it's got to be close to it. It's really significantly up, and you can see it, and you could hear it in people's voices. They wanted to vote.
Yeah. Isn't it great, Congresswoman, that we can play such a central role, even though it's early on in the process, but this is pivotal for all of these candidates.
Well, we're in total agreement, and I'm going to make several points, which is it's a reminder why Iowa and New Hampshire shouldn't have a lock on going first.
It's true.
So I'm never going to take the system on again. I'm going to let the next person take their turn. But it's been great for a week to say for Michigan, but I think if everybody focuses on how great it's been to see the candidates in here talking about the issues that matter to us, you'll see why it's important for different states who have different issues that matter, have the opportunity to hear the candidates and have the candidates talk about the issues that matter to them. And we've both been talking about this for weeks, but it's exciting to see more people engaged. It's exciting to see more people caring. I think too many people, doesn't matter which party, think that they can't make a difference, they don't make a difference, and they don't get involved. And democracy is better the more people that are engaged.
Both of you know that the bread and butter of this state is the auto industry, and it's very, very important to us. Debbie Dingell, we saw a pretty heated exchange in Flint between the Democratic candidates over who saved the auto industry or who backed it and supported it. Bernie Sanders says that Hillary Clinton has misrepresented his position on this. Who's telling the truth and who's not?
Well, you know, we're going to all pull together. I'm going to make a point to you, forgive me, Candice, that they spent more time at the Republican debate talking about male anatomy than they did the entire debate talking about the auto industry, which is the comparison that I would make. But having said that, the fact of the matter is that he did not vote for the bailout, and I hate using the word bailout, and Candice always correct me.
It's the bridge loan.
That the bill that actually happened in, he did not vote for. I was actually surprised he wasn't prepared for. I do not think they prepped him in debate prep for that question, and was surprised at that. But you know, I think both of the candidates care about the auto industry. We've all got to pull together when this is over. And you know, the fact is he didn't vote for it when it did matter. I don't want to get into the semantics. I think they both care about the auto industry.
Candice Miller, Congresswoman, are you happy to see this dump Trump campaign going on within the Republican Party? You were very close to Mitt Romney. He came out with a sledgehammer about a week ago, and we certainly have seen a war of words within the Republican Party.
I do not think it is appropriate for the establishment to be doing what they're doing. I really don't. I didn't think it was right for Mitt Romney to come out and say what he did. Now, I haven't endorsed Donald Trump or anything, but I think that the people should decide. The people should choose. You can't have these establishment choosing. And really, more than the political establishment, what I think is driving this whole thing is Wall Street, the anti-Trump thing. I really do. Debbie's talking about the auto industry. If you think about some of his messaging, what he's really talking about, and a message that resonates in a county like Macomb County, the home of the Reagan Democrats, he is talking about currency manipulation. The other candidates aren't talking about that on either side, I don't think.
No,
I mean, he is talking about the trade issues. Of course, that's, you know, I mean, if it ever did get between Trump and Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton shoved NAFTA he was the NAFTA
Yeah,
guy.
right.
And if you think about all of the manufacturing jobs and different things that we have lost, many people will point to that. And Trump is talking about these unfair
So you think Wall Street is nervous about Donald
I
Trump
think they're very
becoming
nervous.
president?
Yeah, I think they're very nervous about that. But, you know, whatever. Again, I've not endorsed them or anything, but I don't like the establishment or Wall Street or whatever trying to do this. Let the people decide. And you know what? The people are making their voices
Well,
heard.
can Michigan play a role in that? I mean, can Cruz win in this state or be second, or can Kasich jump up in this state and be second and grab some of those delegates and leave this open to question,
I think
further down the line?
Yeah, I think in the case of John Kasich, it's very important for him to have a strong second here tonight, which he might be getting. I guess we'll know shortly. But I think the polls, I think he's had a surge. I think he clearly won the debate, in my opinion, last Thursday at the Fox. And I do think Kasich is having a surge. So if he can do a strong second in Michigan and then actually win his own state of Ohio, I mean, all of a sudden, not only is he still in the game and still in play, he starts to have a chip that he can broker if he goes to the convention.
Debbie Dingell, you represent an area that has a very large Muslim population. That has been an issue in this campaign. What are you hearing from your constituents, and how do you think this is overall going to play into this presidential race?
Well, I think the thing that is the most worrisome is that I can't believe in this year of 2016 we are targeting people because of race or religion. And they're scared. I mean, when that anti-Muslim rhetoric began, the people were scared. I mean, they really were afraid, and that deeply bothered me. You know, we watched what happened under Hitler in World War II, and when religion was targeted, and it has remnants of that. So I hope the fall campaign, we're going to lose some of that very inflammatory rhetoric. I don't care who you are, which party, it's just not good for anybody. So I think that that's what, they're the most concerned about. I think we're all worried about some of the rhetoric that is the lack of civility that is occurring worries all of us. And I hope we can, kind of leave reality TV and go back to the real world discussions for the fall campaign.
But the context of keeping America safe is going to be an issue, however it's parsed
Listen, everybody
out.
cares
It's gonna
about
be a
national
huge
security.
issue.
But has anybody thought about the fact that this rhetoric actually keeps us less safe, that it fans the flames overseas of what people think about America and the discrimination? There's no question that we need. National security is a huge issue. Candice and I agree on that. And all of us want to know that we're voting for somebody who is going to keep us safe. But let's do it in a way that doesn't cause hatred and division. After 9/11, we pulled together as a nation. It was the worst of times and the best of times. We knew what it meant to be Americans. And that meant freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of everything. We cannot let hate divide us. And that's what was happening late last year. And I sincerely hope we don't let that happen this
Candice
year.
Miller, the poll that we recently did with Epic MRA, 61% of Republicans said that they agree with Donald Trump's stand on a Muslim ban, a temporary ban, until, as Dave said, America can come up with better protection to stop terrorism. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in the 61%. So,
Okay.
okay. So that's all I can tell you. But he obviously has touched something. He's caught something that others have not. I mean, when you see this happening all over. And, talking about national security and homeland security, which is always going to be a marquee issue, particularly now with the kinds of challenges that our nation is facing. I will say, as I said, I've not endorsed anyone. I actually endorsed
will
Carly
you?
Fiorina. No, I'm not. I mean, now we're going past Michigan, so who
Okay.
cares now, right?
Okay.
But I was with Carly Fiorina, but of course she's no longer on the stage there. A lot of good people have been left on the field of the stage,
Okay.
I think. But at any rate, I will say this one thing about Ted Cruz. He's talking about a strong military, yet every time he has had an opportunity to vote to hollow out the military, he has. So I have a huge concern with that. I would just put that on the table.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that he has the appeal on the national stage that even a Trump would have. Actually, if Trump were the nominee, in my opinion, watching what's happening here, I think the whole electoral map begins to change. Because states like Michigan, I mean, if you look at the electoral map for the last number of cycles, it has been pretty stable. All of a sudden, you're going to have states like Michigan, New York,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, Illinois,
The entire Midwest, I agree with
All
Candice.
of that. I mean, Maine, New Hampshire, that's all
All
going to
in
be in
play,
play.
right.
All in play, and it really hasn't been in play for the Republicans.
No.
And he's tapped in. I'm telling you, you've seen a lot of disaffected Democrats
No,
that are voting. And I mean, here we have an open primary. I bet there is a bunch of Reagan Democrats in Macomb County voting for Donald Trump today.
Could
Yeah.
very well be. Well, I've mentioned a number of times, even here tonight, that he may not agree with a lot of what he says, but you know, he's not afraid to say it, unlike a lot of political candidates.
Yes.
And some of the message is touching enough people that you know, it's energized some of them anyway, and maybe a way other candidates have. And whether that's good or bad, I mean, I think that much is true.
We haven't even talked about Rubio. I mean, it's as if we've all forgotten about Rubio.
Well-
He actually is still on the ballot here, but you
Most
don't know if
people
he'll
have.
still be on the ballot by next Tuesday,
Anyway,
right?
if he does well tonight, you'll hear a whole lot more talk
Yeah.
about him, I guarantee you. Congresswoman Candice Miller, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank
for
you.
all those people out there that say that Democrats and Republicans don't get along, you've obviously proven them wrong. You guys work together very closely in
We're
Washington.
buddies.
And
We're
you're good
buddies.
friends. Good
And-
We
friends
don't
as
agree
well.
on everything, but we're buddies.
And the
Each
Michigan
other.
delegation,
Yeah.
you know, gets along pretty well.
Yes,
And that's
yes, we do. We have a
important that you
strong
do so
delegation.
For all of
We do.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
We want you to get along.
When it
in
comes
that
to
way.
Michigan issues,
Yeah.
it is everyone, all hands on deck.
Yeah,
All right.
excellent.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
both.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
All right, good
Thanks
seeing
for having
us.
All right,
Thank
give
you.
the best.
Take care.
Give the best to your husbands as well.
Yes,
too.
we will.
All right.